Traders, welcome back to another video. This week was a very good profitable week for me, and let's look at some of the changes that have made me profitable this week, while also looking at the trades that I took. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Let's jump into the video. Alright, so this is my history for this week's trades, and right off the bat you can see that in the volume section there are a couple of inconsistencies. So from Tuesday, as I was looking at, okay, which size should I use when I'm trading indices or when I'm trading pairs, currency pairs? That is one thing that I have really thought down, considered, and I've come up with a way of risking a similar percentage on each single trade while using different sizes. Number two is I have reduced the number of trades that I take. So this strategy gives me a lot of opportunities in the London and in the New York session. And if you have no boundaries, if you have no rules, like I did last week, you'll find yourself taking large numbers of trades, and then the more you trade, the more you risk, and you lose money. So I've cut down the number of trades to 2 trades per week, per day. Now let's look at this setup. So why I took these trades and how you can. Let's start with USD JPY on Tuesday. So I started trading on Tuesday, and on Monday price set the high and the low of the session. But also we have this low of the week here. So if we look at what happened, price on Monday broke out of the low of the previous week and closed as a failed breakout, but also a fast green day. Meaning when I come to the screen on Tuesday, I'm looking for an opportunity to buy low. So looking at the London session, the first hour sets the high and the low of the session. So at 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. and then 5 a.m. So I'm looking to trade between 3 and 5, only 2 hours a day. And this is what happened. So the first hour set the high and the low of the session, but not the low of the day. The low of the day was set in the gap time. So price did come back to that level, gave us an M pattern with a break in structure, and then a pullback with an engulfment candle. Now the engulfment candle was not down here. Price did come back down again, gave us another M pattern with a break in structure, and then the engulfment candle was at 343, this candle here. So this was my entry, and I was looking to target a 1 to 2, 1 to 3. I got out at around 1 to 2, somewhere around here. But basically that is how I trade. My stops is, I have a free mentorship program, link will be in the description. Check it out, and let's jump back into the video. Moving on to the next trade was oil. Oil on Tuesday, I was selling oil, and that was a losing trade. So let's look at the trade, break it down. Why do we have a losing trade, even though losing is part of the game? So looking at the previous week, we have the low of the week here on Friday. Monday broke down and closed outside of the low of the previous week, meaning that was a breakout. So I was looking for an opportunity to continue selling on Tuesday. So first hour sets the high and the low of the session. Remember, I only take trades at the high or the low of the day. Second hour, then money trading 2 hours. So let's see, why did I lose in that trade and yet the price moved in my direction? So as you can see, we have first hour setting the high, the second hour price breaks out, gives us a W pattern here with a breaking structure, and then gives us an engulfment candle at 334. Now if you go through this trade and backtest it, you'll see that this was a very good trade. You wouldn't have known price was going to go against you. So above that level, and then 1 to 3. So that was the losing trade, and you can see I took a trade with a small lot size, which was not giving me any money, and then I sized up now. So this is about 1%, and then I got overconfident and I added another position. So yeah, once price started going down after this engulfment, I thought these candles were going to give me a discount entry, but that is not a very good way to trade. So that is one thing I have changed also. Moving on to the next trade, it was a GBP card on Wednesday. So GBP card. It was a very beautiful trade on Wednesday. Now we have the high of the day. We have the high of the week set on Monday. On Tuesday it was an inside day. But also if you look at price action, this was the low of the week on Thursday. And then Friday broke out, closed as a failed breakout, meaning now we are buying. So I would have been looking for an opportunity to buy on Monday, on Tuesday, but also since we have an inside day, I'm still going with the existing bias of buy, and that is why I was looking for an opportunity to buy the London session. And the process is the same. The first hour sets the high and the low of the session, and then the next 2 hours we are looking for an opportunity to trade. So if we look at what happened, we have the first hour setting the low of the session, which is also the low of the day, and then in the second hour price comes back to that level, and then we have this M pattern here with a breaking structure, and then I'm looking for an engulfment candle. I got in here after this engulfment candle. Now looking back at trading view, I see it was a blue candle, but when we look at the MetaTrader, we had a red candle. So yeah, it was a nice move. I didn't complain. Moving on, the next trade was on Thursday, and we were looking at US Tech. If we look at Thursday US Tech's trade, we have the high of the week, but also on Wednesday we have this failed breakout. So in my mind, I was looking for an opportunity to sell to continue with this new trend that was forming. So if we look at the first hour, so at 2 to 3, price gave us the high of the session, which was not the high of the day. Then we waited for price to come back to that level and gave us an M pattern after it had triggered the high of the day, and then a retest and an engulfment candle at 315. So this is the entry, stops above that level, and as you can see, we got stopped out. So yeah, it's part of the game. You can't really know when that losing trade is coming. And then lastly, on that day, we also traded the pound dollar on Thursday, and the process is still the same. So if we look at the high and the low of the week, we have that high there on Monday, and then Tuesday breaks out, Wednesday breaks out. So I'm looking for Thursday to sell, and it does. So we have the first hour. So if we look at the first hour sets the high and the low of the session. So 2 to 3, this is where 3 ends. This is the high of the session, which is also the high of the day. Price comes back to that level, gives us an M pattern retest, and then an engulfment candle. So the entry is here. Now I did enter here because this is also a small engulfment. It is not an engulfment candle, but at the moment I thought it was an engulfment candle. But looking back at it, I would have been stopped out. Yeah, because I'm using a 1 bar stop. But it was an excellent trade. Anyway, yeah, we do get trades like that. Moving on to the next trade was US 30 yesterday. So looking at US 30, I was looking for an opportunity to buy. Now I'm hurrying up because of time, and the first hour sets the high of the session. We have the low of the day here. And then in the second hour, price gives us a nice consolidation MW pattern with a breaking structure, and then pullback engulfment candle. So this is the entry here for your 1 to 2, 1 to 3, 1 to 5, whatever. And then lastly, we took a trade on the USD card in the New York session, and you can see the first hour sets the high and the low of the session. The second hour, price breaks out, comes back to that level, and then we get an engulfment here, and that was the trade. So if you got value from today's video, subscribe.